Say it again. Amara's voice trembled, not from fear, but fury. A heavy silence dropped over the lecture hall. Phones hovered mid-air, screens glowing. Every pair of eyes fixed on Chloe, the golden-haired student smirking across the seminar table. What? Just saying what everyone's thinking. Chloe shrugged, her tone drenched in mock innocence. Some of us actually earned our spots here. The room buzzed with half-suppressed gasps. Someone whispered, "Oh my God!" but no one stepped in. Amara's chest rose and fell. Her palms tightened around her notebook, the one embossed with her grandmother's initials. M.A. She could feel heat crawling up her neck, the shame mixing with anger. The professor cleared his throat but said nothing. "Did you hear me?" Amara's voice sharpened. "Say it again." Chloe leaned back, smirking. "Fine. Maybe this university's diversity quota worked overtime for you." The words hung in the air like poison. Laughter, uneasy, nervous, fluttered across the room. Amara felt her stomach twist, but she didn't look away. Not this time. The red light of a recording phone blinked in her peripheral vision, a cruel reminder that humiliation now came with a digital audience. The laughter stopped. The silence screamed louder than any insult could, and in that suffocating stillness, Amara swallowed hard, her voice barely above a whisper. "You have no idea who you're talking to." The tension deepened, pulling everyone to the edge of their breath. Chloe tilted her head, amused. "Relax, it's just a joke. Don't be so sensitive." Her friends giggled, the kind of laughter that disguises cruelty as humor. "I mean, your accent's cute, though," one said, "like you're trying so hard to sound Ivy League." Amara blinked slowly. "Trying?" Chloe smirked. "Yeah, and that hair, wow! It takes confidence to wear it like that. Must be so cultural." The room shifted uncomfortably, but no one objected. Amara forced herself to breathe evenly. "You think racism's a punchline?" "Whoa, who said anything about racism?" Chloe said, tone faux surprised. "It's just, you stand out. Like, really stand out." The professor glanced up from his notes but stayed quiet, pretending to be lost in thought. Every word Chloe spoke felt deliberate, a careful blend of venom and denial. This wasn't ignorance, it was power, and Amara could feel it tightening around her like a noose. Still, she kept her chin high. She'd learned long ago that silence sometimes screamed louder than rage. But as Chloe's grin widened, Amara began to wonder if silence was just another kind of permission. No one moved. No one spoke. The professor's eyes darted nervously between the two women. He opened his mouth once, then closed it. A few students shifted in their seats, avoiding eye contact. Others raised their phones higher, capturing every second. Amara could hear the faint hum of a phone camera, the tiny red light blinking like a heartbeat. Her humiliation was being archived in real time. Chloe leaned forward. "Guess no one's defending you," she whispered. "Maybe they agree with me." The words landed heavier than a slap. In that moment, the classroom wasn't a learning space. It was an arena. And everyone had chosen a side. The worst part wasn't Chloe's cruelty, it was their silence, their quiet approval, the kind that told Amara she was alone. Amara's fingers dug into her notebook until her knuckles turned white. She didn't blink when Chloe leaned in closer, her tone low and sharp enough to draw blood. "People like you don't belong here." The room froze. Amara's heart pounded in her ears. Every buried insult, every fake smile, every "you're so articulate" she'd endured, all of it came rushing back. Her voice trembled as she spoke. "You think you can define where I belong?" Chloe laughed, the sound brittle. "Oh, please. This school's built for excellence, not sympathy stories." Something inside Amara cracked open. Years of swallowing pride turned into something uncontainable. She rose slowly, her voice steadying with every word. "You walk through life thinking privilege is intelligence. You mistake cruelty for confidence." Her hands shook, but her words didn't. "And the worst part? Everyone here lets you." Gasps, whispered curses. The room buzzed like static. For the first time, Chloe didn't have a comeback. Amara's throat ached, but she didn't look away. You don't get to decide who belongs. Not anymore, Chloe scoffed, trying to recover her swagger. You're just another angry girl playing the victim. Amara's eyes narrowed. The fire in her voice turned cold. Victim? She said quietly. No, she took a single step forward. You don't even know who you're talking to. The words landed like thunder. No one breathed. Even the camera phones lowered, uncertain of what they'd just captured. For the first time, Chloe looked uneasy. Amara's stare didn't waver. There was something ancient in it, something unbreakable, a legacy speaking through her, waiting to be understood. The room went still. Amara stood there, unmoving, unreadable, as the silence stretched into eternity. Even Chloe's smirk faltered. Somewhere deep inside, Amara felt her anger dissolve into something quieter, older. Her eyes drifted to the initials on her notebook, M.A., and suddenly, she wasn't in that classroom anymore. She was back where it all began. Welcome to St. Clair University, the sign read, polished gold letters against white stone. Amara adjusted the strap of her bag and whispered, New start. Fresh chapter. But as she stepped through the courtyard, her excitement dulled. Laughter echoed between tall columns, carefree, confident, belonging. She caught glimpses of designer coats, easy smiles, and unspoken familiarity. Her sneakers squeaked against marble floors as students glanced up, then away. A group near the fountain stopped talking the moment she passed. Excuse me? She smiled at a passing girl. The girl nodded stiffly and kept walking. It was subtle, almost invisible, but Amara felt it instantly. The same old chill wrapped around her. That quiet question she'd carried since childhood whispered again. Do I really belong here? She squared her shoulders, forcing a breath. I earned this, she murmured. Every single step. But even as she said it, the hallway felt colder. At the registrar's office, the clerk squinted at the form. Amara? Angelo? Amara's pen hesitated. Then she crossed out the last name. Just Amara, she said. She'd promised herself she wouldn't use her grandmother's legacy as armor. Let your work speak before your name does, Maya had once told her, voice soft but firm. Back then, she believed it was strength. Now it felt like a risk. She tucked the registration paper into her folder, her heart pounding. Here, she wasn't anyone's granddaughter. Here, she was just another girl trying to prove she deserved the same air everyone else. Breathed so easily, it started with compliments. That didn't sound like compliments. You're so articulate, said one classmate after she spoke. Where did you really go to school? Another added, smiling too wide. Even professors joined in the dance of condescension. You bring such perspective, one said, as if her existence were a case study. Amara smiled politely, swallowing the sting. Every word felt coated in sugar but burned going down. She'd raise her hand in class, only to be interrupted halfway. When she spoke again, her ideas reappeared later, credited to someone else. This wasn't open hostility. It was 1,000 tiny cuts dressed in manners. Racial prejudice hid behind civility. Its tone always calm, its impact always sharp. And every night, as she walked back to her dorm, Amara whispered, maybe tomorrow will be different. But deep down, she knew the walls here didn't change. They just echoed differently. At first, her roommate Lily was friendly. They laughed about cafeteria food, shared playlists, and exchanged late-night study snacks. Then, slowly, the space shifted. Lily stopped meeting her eyes. Conversations grew short. Sorry, just busy, she'd say, closing her laptop as Amara entered. The laughter disappeared. The air thickened. Amara noticed the small things, the locked phone, the way Lily paused before introducing her to friends. It wasn't a confrontation. It was far away, the kind that said everything without a word. One evening, as Amara sat on her bed writing, Lily walked in, glanced at her notebook, and quietly turned away, invisible again. That night, the pen moved before her thoughts caught up. They look through me but still manage to see what they fear. Her handwriting trembled across the page. In the quiet, she could almost hear her grandmother's voice. Right. Amara. Even pain has rhythm. The notebook became her refuge, ink absorbing what her voice couldn't risk saying aloud. Each line was survival disguised as poetry. And for the first time in weeks, she felt a heartbeat of strength return. She stared at her notebook, whispering, "Maybe silence doesn't protect me. Maybe it erases me." And for once, she didn't close it. "Did you read the assigned essay?" the professor asked. Before anyone could answer, Chloe did. Her voice was smooth, confident, almost rehearsed. "I think Angelo's use of repetition mirrors her refusal to be silenced." "It's genius, really." The class nodded like she'd just discovered fire. Amara had said the same thing a minute earlier. No one reacted then. Chloe sat across from her. Immaculate hair, polished nails, that effortless charm money always seemed to buy. When she smiled, the professors smiled back. Amara noticed how easily Chloe took control. Subtle glances, small laughs, a tone that filled the room like it already belonged to her. Later, as the professor dismissed them, Chloe turned slightly toward Amara and said with syrupy politeness, "You have great thoughts, too. You just need confidence." The compliment carried weight, but not kindness. Amara packed her notes slowly, already feeling the shift, power cloaked in charm. The next class, Chloe leaned over Amara's desk with that same smile. "You're so articulate," she said, her voice light as air. "It must be nice having scholarships for people like you." The phrase hung there. People like you. A few students chuckled. One muttered, "Relax, she's just joking." Amara's chest tightened, but she forced a polite smile. "Thanks," she managed, every syllable tasting like restraint. Chloe tilted her head, mock innocence in her tone. "I mean it. It's inspiring. You carry yourself so gracefully." Another round of awkward laughter. Amara wanted to disappear. But she'd learned that anger only confirmed their assumptions, so she swallowed her response and turned back to her notebook. Each word she wrote trembling slightly. Inside, her thoughts burned. She knew exactly what Chloe meant, and exactly why everyone pretended not to hear it. A week later, the topic was representation in literature. Amara's hand rose cautiously. "I think representation isn't just about visibility," she said. "It's about agency. Who gets to tell the story?" The professor nodded vaguely, moving on. Moments later, Chloe spoke. "Maybe it's not visibility, it's agency. Who tells the story, right?" The class buzzed in agreement. "That's brilliant," someone said. The professor smiled. "Excellent point, Chloe." Amara froze. The same words, only louder, whiter, more acceptable. She stared down at her notes, pen pressing too hard into the page. Her chest felt heavy, but she said nothing. After class, someone patted her shoulder. "You and Chloe think so alike." She smiled weakly. Thinking, no, she just takes what's already mine. That night, she wrote in her journal, "Even my silence is stolen before I can use it." By the end of the month, everyone knew Chloe. Everyone admired her confidence, her ease, her effortless popularity. Amara was simply tolerated, until the day Chloe turned amusement into cruelty. Amara walked into the cafeteria, balancing her tray. Chloe sat with her friends nearby, laughter spilling across the table. "Careful," Chloe said loudly enough for the room to hear. "Her curls might clog the sink." The laughter was instant. Not all at once, more like a ripple, spreading, disguising itself as humor. Amara froze mid-step. The words hit harder than they sounded. She caught sight of phones recording, heads turning, smiles twisting into masks of complicity. Someone whispered, "It's just a joke, but jokes shouldn't sting like this." Her heart pounded, but she kept walking. She wouldn't give them the satisfaction of seeing her break. She placed her tray down quietly, every movement deliberate, her throat aching from silence. Across the room, Chloe's laughter rang louder than any apology could have, and in that moment, Amara realized silence could be survival, but it could also be surrender. That night, she sat in front of her mirror, replaying every word, every smirk, every laugh. Her reflection stared back, steady but tired, Her grandmother's voice whispered from memory. "Hold your head high. You don't owe them your pain." Amara breathed deeply, but the strength she'd inherited felt distant, diluted by exhaustion. Was her silence protecting her or betraying her? She wrote the question in her notebook, underlining it twice, as if the answer might appear through ink. Outside, the campus hummed with life. Inside, her room felt like a cage of quiet endurance. The next morning, voices drifted down the hallway. Chloe's among them. Poems about cages and singing birds like, "Get over it," she laughed. The group echoed her. Amara stopped in her tracks, the air leaving her lungs. She didn't move, didn't speak, because they weren't mocking a poem, they were mocking her bloodline. "Next presenter, please." Amara's name echoes across the seminar room. Her palms are damp, but she stands tall, clutching her notes like armor. Dozens of eyes follow her, some curious, others already bored. She breathes, steadying the tremor in her chest. "My topic," she begins, voice low but firm, "is the legacy of influential Black writers and their power to redefine identity." A few heads lift. The usual chatter fades. Her words begin to flow, careful, passionate, deliberate. She quotes Baldwin Morrison Hughes. For once, the professor listens without interruption. Even the usual whispers have quieted. For a brief golden moment, Amara feels seen. The weight of every overlooked idea, every forced smile, seems to dissolve in that silence. She doesn't know it yet, but the same silence will soon turn against her. Her final slide glows softly behind her. Amara lifts her chin and recites the last verse. "I'm a woman phenomenally." The room stills. Her tone, rich and proud, cuts through the air. Each syllable lands with conviction. "That's what Maya Angelou taught me, to rise, even when the world refuses to see your wings." For a moment, no one breathes. The professor's eyes soften. A hesitant clap starts at the back, then another. The applause swells, genuine, appreciative. Even Chloe, seated 2 rows away, forces a smile that doesn't reach her eyes. Amara feels warmth in her chest. The sound of approval is rare, almost foreign, but as she returns to her seat, she catches Chloe's expression, that tight, jealous smirk, the kind that doesn't need words to wound. Chloe leans toward her friend and whispers, "Let's see how long that halo lasts." The applause fades, but tension lingers. Sharp as a blade waiting to drop, Amara's relief lasts seconds. "Can I just say something?" Chloe's voice cuts through the room. The professor hesitates. "Briefly," he murmurs. Chloe crosses her arms, eyes glinting. "It's impressive, sure. But isn't it a bit performative? I mean, playing the victim for applause? That's kind of outdated, right?" A nervous laugh ripples across the room. Someone snorts. Amara blinks. "Excuse me?" Chloe shrugs. "You talk about oppression like it's a brand. Some of us just work hard without blaming the system." A few chuckles grow louder. The professor clears his throat, muttering something about moving on, but doesn't stop it. Amara's heart slams in her chest. Her throat tightens, words stuck behind pride and disbelief. She looks around, searching for a single ally. Every face avoids hers. For the first time, she understands what real isolation feels like. Not silence, but betrayal disguised as indifference. And Chloe isn't done. "Actually," Chloe says, feigning innocence, "Amara's got more. I found this in our shared document. Pure artistry." Amara freezes. "Don't." But Chloe's already typing, her voice dripping mock sweetness. Let's give the class another taste of her genius. She begins reading aloud. Amara's private poem. "Words written in solitude, never meant for anyone's eyes. I wear my silence like a crown, not because I'm weak, but because shouting never changed the echo." Laughter bursts. Someone records on their phone. Amara's vision blurs. "Stop it, Chloe, that's personal." Chloe smirks. "Relax, it's called feedback." The professor adjusts his glasses, pretending not to hear. The next line spills out, raw, trembling. "My skin isn't armor, but they keep testing its strength. The room howls. The title flashes on Chloe's laptop, Wannabe Woke Poetry. Amara feels her chest cave in. Her voice cracks, but she refuses to cry, not here, not in front of them. She gathers her papers, her dignity, and stands. "You can keep your laughter," she says softly, "but don't mistake it for power." The door closes behind her with quiet finality. The echo follows her down the hall. Laughter. Betrayal and the death of trust. By nightfall, it's everywhere. The clip. Chloe's voice, Amara's poem. The laughter. Posted under the title, "Diversity Girl Gets Schooled." Thousands of views within hours. Comments flood in. "She's so dramatic. Maybe she should focus on real work." Another woke meltdown. Her inbox pings endlessly. Laughing emojis, GIFs, anonymous DMs. She scrolls until her face becomes someone else's punchline, until she can't breathe. Then, silence. The kind that doesn't comfort, only suffocates. She deletes her profiles. Turns off her phone. Pull the blinds shut. But humiliation doesn't fade when the screen goes dark. It lingers, replaying every second until sleep refuses to come. The next evening, her dorm is cold. The world smaller. She sits on the floor, surrounded by torn pages, drafts, essays, memories. Her hand stops at a worn book. I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. The cover's faded, but her grandmother's note still glows faintly. "You come from women who rise." Amara opens to the page she's read 100 times. "If you're always trying to be normal," she whispers. Voice cracking, "You'll never know how amazing you can be." Something shifts inside her. A faint tremor. Like a heartbeat remembering itself. The tears fall freely now, but they're not the same. They cleanse, not crumble. For the first time since that day, Amara exhales without breaking. Dawn spills through her window. Amara ties her curls. Steady hands, steady breath. She looks in the mirror, not for flaws, but for fire. The girl who once whispered has learned the power of her own echo. Still, "I rise," she murmurs. And this time, the words belong to her. "Let's begin." Amara's tone slices through the quiet. No tremor, no hesitation. Just resolve. The ethics board sits across from her, the same faces that once shrugged off her pain. She sets a folder on the table, each document neatly aligned, every move intentional. The professor clears his throat. "Miss Angelo, this is..." Unexpected. "Not really," she replies evenly. "You ignored the noise." "I brought you the echo." The room stiffens. Gone is the girl who begged to be heard. The woman before them doesn't need permission to speak. Amara looks each of them in the eye. "You wanted evidence. I brought the truth." And for the first time, they listen. Not because they choose to, but because they must. Amara opens her laptop. "This," she says, "is what you overlooked." The screen flashes. Messages filled with slurs, clips of laughter from the seminar, the stolen poem played side by side with Chloe's mockery. Every timestamp, every name, perfectly documented, gasps ripple around the table. The chairwoman fidgets, glancing toward the silent professor. "You said there wasn't enough proof," Amara continues. "That maybe I misunderstood. But this..." She points to the frozen frame of Chloe's smirk. "This is understanding in its purest form." The professor lowers his gaze. "We didn't realize..." "No," she interrupts, calm but cutting. "You didn't want to." Her voice never rises. "It doesn't have to." The footage does the shouting. Minutes stretch. Silence swells. The weight of their inaction fills the room. By the time the video ends, guilt has no place to hide. That evening, Amara's name floods the campus newsfeed. Headline: "The girl they humiliated for speaking the truth is Maya Angelou's granddaughter." Within hours, it spreads beyond the campus, across platforms, into living rooms, onto trending lists. Comment sections transform. They mocked her? She's related to Maya Angelou? Unbelievable. Screens flash with her photo, not as a victim, but as a symbol. The same world that ridiculed her now rushes to apologize. Amara scrolls through the messages, interviews, articles, apologies that mean nothing. She doesn't respond. Her silence is louder than their sympathy. The irony stings, but she's not angry anymore. They didn't need her name to believe her. They needed her legacy, and that says everything. The next day, the internet turns. Clips of Chloe's laughter resurface, dissected, slowed, captioned. Entitled cruelty. Textbook racism. Where's Chloe now? Her classmates unfollowed her. Brands distanced themselves. Even her sorority issues a statement. For once, privilege doesn't shield her. It spotlights her. Chloe posts a shaky video. I never meant to hurt anyone. The comments flood in. Apologize to Amara. You destroyed her confidence. We saw the video. The backlash isn't revenge, it's revelation. And on campus, the same lecture hall where Amara once stood, humiliated, now buzzes with whispers about accountability. Ethics, reform. Professors draft policies overnight. Administrators scramble to save face. The world is changing. Not perfectly, not permanently, but undeniably. And at the center of that shift stands Amara. Quiet, resolute, unbroken. The following week, posters cover every wall. Still I rise, a spoken word, rally for the silenced. Amara doesn't want pity. She wants purpose. Let them come, she tells her friend. Not to hear me, but to hear us. By evening, hundreds fill the hall, the same one where she once stood alone. But now, the air vibrates with unity, not mockery. One by one, students step forward, sharing stories of being dismissed, profiled, erased. Voices that once trembled now rise, fearless. When it's her turn, Amara steps to the mic. Her pulse is steady. They tried to make me ashamed of my voice, she begins. But that's exactly why I'll never stop using it. Applause rolls through the crowd. Not performative, but powerful. This time, her story isn't hers alone. It's everyone's. Her final verse hangs in the air, gentle but immovable. You tried to bury me, she says softly. But I am the seed. No one dares to move. The silence that follows is sacred, the kind born of awe, not apathy. Even Chloe, half hidden in the back, can't look away. Amara lowers the mic, eyes shining with quiet pride. The same hall that once witnessed her breaking now bears witness to her rebirth. The applause builds, wave after wave, until the walls themselves seem to remember her name, and still, she stands, calm, powerful, free. The email hits inboxes before sunrise. Subject: University Disciplinary Action. Statement on Harassment and Bias. Every student reads it. Every professor forwards it. The university upholds a zero-tolerance policy for discrimination. Effective immediately, Chloe Harrison's enrollment and scholarship are revoked. Additional measures will ensure equity, transparency, and reform. Her name trends within hours, not with admiration, but accountability. Screens fill with disbelief, hashtags, apologies too late to matter. Amara sits quietly by her window, the glow of dawn spilling across her notebook. She doesn't smile for revenge, only for release. She whispers half to herself, finally. It's not just me being heard, it's the truth. The same system that once ignored her pain now bends under the weight of its own silence. 2 weeks later, Amara's phone buzzes. The dean's voice crackles through the line, cautious but sincere. Miss Angelo, the board would be honored if you'd deliver the commencement. Address this year. A pause. The same institution that once dismissed her now waits for her permission to... Listen, I'll do it, she replies softly. But I'm not coming to thank anyone. He swallows hard. Of course. She closes her journal, a small smile tugging at the corner of her lips. The microphone that once silenced her would now carry her truth across every corner of that hall. Her story had come full circle. Graduation day. The crowd hums with excitement as Amara steps to the podium, her gown flowing like a quiet revolution. My name, she begins, steady and sure, is Amara Angelo. The murmurs are quiet. Cameras lift. But today, she continues, her voice resonant and clear, I speak not just for myself, but for every voice that was silenced. Every dream told me it didn't belong here. Every student who swallowed pain survived. A breath, a heartbeat. Pain made us cautious. Injustice made us louder. But truth made us unstoppable. She lifts her gaze, eyes glinting under the lights. Today we rise. The hall erupts, applause, tears, awe. Yet beneath the thunder, a sacred silence lingers, not empty but full. The silence of finally being understood. The noise fades, a single line remains, her grandmother's eternal echo. Still, she rises. And somewhere beyond the applause, her voice, strong, unbroken, keeps rising with every story that dares to be told. Amara's final words echo softly. Today, we rise. Then a voice breaks the silence. What would you have done if you were Amara? Would you have spoken up or stayed quiet? Should universities do more to protect students from racism? The question doesn't fade. It waits for you. If this story moved you, the voice continues gently, don't let it end here. Like, comment, and share to make sure every silenced voice is finally heard. Faces appear, students, poets, dreamers, each carrying the same quiet defiance Amara once did. The final words pulse with purpose. Don't just watch, rise.